FSG has put us back to our perch. So I think there is no more achievement. There's nothing more than you can ask for as a Liverpool fan. I think we have club Premier League champions, Club World Cup champions, current UEFA champions. So I
So
really don't think that
I
there's.
tell you, I tell this to you and everyone who is either listening or will listen to this or watch this, that FSG for me personally I will not call them the best owners in the world, but they are as good as the best owners in the world. Reason being, when they came in, for a club to sustain itself in the modern day scenario, it is not just good for us to be successful on the pitch. You have to be successful off it as well. For a club like Liverpool, which has such a big brand equity across the globe, especially in Asia, Australia, and US, apart from Europe, obviously, the club needed to go head to head with teams like, if you have to go head to head with teams like Chelsea, Man City, Man United, Real Madrid, Barcelona, and these big teams, you need to be financially competent with these teams. And that is what FSG have done. Apart from hiring, of course, they have hired Brendan Rodgers, they did hire Kenny Dalglish in good faith, hoping that the club will run forward. We have taken baby steps towards where we are today. Of course, it was a long wait, but we have had to work towards it. Brendan Rodgers had a horrible time towards the end. Initially, there was a question mark about where the club is going to head because other teams are spending. But then finally, after Klopp came in, a lot changed. Then we saw a lot of commercial deals happening, a lot of big commercial deals happening. Today, Nike is with us. We had Standard Chartered with us. We had Carlsberg with us. So we had big sponsors coming in. Carlsberg was already with us, but other big major sponsors also started coming in and funding funds into the club. In whatever way possible, we started earning money. I think 2017-18 to 2019-20 was probably the golden years, I would call it, because that is the revenue that we've earned is one of the best. Where were we before this? I mean, were we even in a top 5 or top 10 with regards to competing with these big clubs before, with regards to trophies, with regards to buying players? We weren't, right? Now we are doing that. So FSG deserve a big credit for it. We have got commercial deals now. Of course, a big hierarchy change has happened. Uh, the great Michael Edwards was previously just a stats guy under Brendan Rodgers, and news goes that Brendan Rodgers was apparently jealous and of Michael Edwards growing as a personality at the club because he was that damn brilliant. Unfortunately, Brendan Rodgers never really saw the day of light towards the end and actually gave him that sort of role where he could work with him and buy those sort of players. Klopp, in fact, saw that potential in him and said, "I want to work with him. I'm open to suggestions from the hierarchy. If he feels that there's a player coming in over what players I want, I'm open to it." And that is what exactly happened. Now, imagine 2 3 years back, before we signed Salah, we were linked with Julian Brandt. We were linked with Mario Götze. Now, imagine if we had not got Mane and we had got Mario Götze and we had got Julian Brandt instead of Salah, we would not be where we are today, in all fairness. And I mean no disrespect to them, but they're not at the level of as Salah and Mane are today. Okay.
That's true.
FSG unfortunately don't get the sort of credit that an owners should get because they are not in the same bracket of spending when it comes to a Roman Abramovich or a Sheikh Mansour or even the Glazers at United for that matter.
Yeah. I think it's the digital generation that's basically, I mean, you're on Twitter, I'm on Twitter. I think we see, a lot of stat merchants out there, talking about, and it's not just the fan base, even the official handles like Goals, Sky Sports, and every other, they share random stats like, how much a team has spent or how much, the goal, the passing ratio, the passes completed, the goals. I mean, Manchester United were crowned as the nutmeg kings for some reason. I don't know what kind of stats and since when those kind of stats have ever mattered. So I think this is all a hype which has been on social media that, what, these are the owners, they are, spending this much of money to build their team. While as, people kind of they fall into that trap of, hyping themselves. I think that's a strategy Manchester United have been doing it for years. They have been, overhyping themselves so much, even though they still have their majority success has been domestic. They are not, as you would call European giant. They're not a European giant of a team, to be very honest, because Liverpool have achieved far more than them in their entire history. So I think that's the way, people go about it. And I mean, you and I, we both are coming from, the same country, and we understand how when we grew up, it was all, Manchester United, Manchester United. Every single person whom you would go up to and he will say, who do you support? It's Manchester United or maybe the Barcelona or Madrid, something like that, because that was the golden era for them when they, really, got the hold of the audience. So I think this is just like that. I think this is again I think I'll call it the phase two, where it's all about the owners. Now the attention has shifted to owners than the brand, and people are making their own opinions.
Absolutely. See, on social media, what has happened is now Liverpool and most of the clubs are in a phase where social media is in power. Okay, if you technically go on to see teams like Manchester City and Chelsea, they had not won the league for almost 50 years before the ownership took over. But nobody talks about it. Why? Because there was no social media back then.
Exactly.
Right. So we are victims of the fact that, of course, we get highlighted. Now there have been clubs because Liverpool has that prestige. Liverpool has that brand equity, the pulling power, which most of the rival clubs hate to see.
True.
Right.
True.
Liverpool is a special club, whether you like it or not, because where will you get such a variety of as a club? We have seen the club built from humble beginnings when Shankly came in. He changed the boot room. He brought in success. It's not come overnight. It's been built over like how FSG have, how Klopp has done it. It's taken time, but when he built a dynasty, he built it. And then generations to come, he brought in Paisley, he brought in Fagan, he brought Dalglish, he got Souness, and so on. So he built a dynasty as where we become a conveyor belt of success. That has taken time to come. Nowadays, people haven't seen those eras where Liverpool were dominant, and there
They
was a
just
phase
lack,
where we totally stopped winning.
yeah, they just lack
And
patience, I guess.
because the current, and now because previously it wasn't the power of TV and the power of social media was not there before, about 25, 30 years back. I'm talking about when Liverpool were actually successful in the 80s and early 80s or 70s. TV came much later on. Now social media is in power. So everything is looked at minutely. Now you talk about nutmeg kings and dribbled past. These are small kids on Twitter who try and come up with such stupid analogies.
Yeah,
I
these are
mean,
just, I think,
see, as a
these are
footballer, you
stickers,
are
right?
going to score a goal. You are going to concede a goal. If you're a defender, you are going to be dribble pass. You are going to get sent off at some stage. So such things don't matter. It's a game. You
Yeah,
cannot be
exactly.
minutely accessing all these things on social media and calling yourself whatever you want to call. So I think this is more down to people's. There's a term called clutching at straws because Liverpool now is winning so many things. Van Dijk was not dribble pass for more than 68 games. Then he has only conceded or he has only led to 2 errors at goal in 68 games or something like that. So people just magnify every error to such a level and hype it to such a level. They want to feel that, oh, we have done this, now it's an achievement, which is not. It is actually stupid. I
Actually,
find it stupid.
to be honest, I find it as a compliment, because when you talk about, when you hype that, oh hey, we've dribbled past Van Dijk. I mean, Arsenal have that footage of Pepe, and I wouldn't even call it dribble past. He literally kicked the ball out, and he was just running towards the ball. He didn't even dribble. That wasn't even a dribble. So they literally had that in their highlight reel of the season. So that speaks a lot. That speaks a lot that
that
an
is what
official
that is
channel.
what I meant by clutching at straws, because when things aren't going your way, you go and look at small things that actually make you happy, and such things, if they make you happy, I'm sorry, because the Arsenal that I saw growing up during Wenger's era were actually serial winners. They were champion material. You look at this team, okay, Arteta's done well with regards to winning the FA Cup, but if that is your level of standard, I'm sorry, Arsenal have dropped standard big time if that is the case.
That is for true, and I think that is where they went wrong, and a lot of our fans as well. See, they have their own points. Some of, I think, the FSG outers are obviously they kind of need a reality check from where we are coming from, or maybe they're maybe a year or two older fans. To be honest, they just hopped on the train that was just the winning train basically.